Hey everyone, welcome back to the Stretch Mobility Coach YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about understanding hip pain from prolonged sitting. And I'm going to talk about the causes, the risk, and prevention today. And if you've ever experienced hip pain, this show is for you. Now, this video is going to talk about those of you who experience hip pain, what's happening, and what that hip pain might be telling you about the overall health of your hip. So first, let's talk about what's happening in their hip when you're actually in a sitting position. The hip joint is a ball and socket. This is the head of the femur, and it fits into your pelvis, and it's a ball and socket joint. And that joint is supposed to, like when you're standing, it's in this position, and it is supposed to sink down when you're in a sitting position. It's supposed to rotate. It's supposed to be able to rotate this way in and out, and it's supposed to go out to the side and back down. So it does what we call flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, internal and external rotation. And this bone is actually called the femur bone, and the head of the femur connects by a joint capsule inside your pelvis. So right about here, and many of you will feel that hip pain here or in the front of the hip. Now, when you sit, this joint glides down into the lower portion of the capsule, which over time, this joint capsule can become tight and not allow for that full joint mobility. And when this occurs, you can experience hip pain with prolonged sitting. And if you notice your pain in your hips is after sitting for a while, it's more than just discomfort. It's your body's way of telling you that something is not quite right. Now, this pain is often an indicator that your hip joint is overworked and that the joints in your hips, your lower back, and your lower body may not be functioning in a healthy way. Now, what do you mean when you say a joint is not healthy? Well, a healthy joint should have full range of motion, and the surrounding muscles should be strong and supportive. And as we talk about things, joint mobility means that in a hip joint, when the head of the humerus is inside the capsule, when you go to a sitting position, that hip joint has to sink down low into the bottom portion of that hip capsule. And it then also needs to, when you're walking, it's supposed to flex forward. It's supposed to extend backwards when you take a step. It's supposed to abduct, which is go out to the side and back in. And then it's also supposed to be able to rotate so that when you turn, play golf, and other sports that require that motion, you have the mobility in that joint to do it. Now, when a joint loses its normal mobility, or when the muscles around that joint become weakened, we classify that joint as unhealthy. And when your hips are not healthy, or your hip joints are not healthy, they become deconditioned, meaning they lose strength and flexibility. And this deconditioning is often what leads to the pain and what you feel after you sit for long periods of time. Now, if this is left untreated, this pain could actually lead to more serious issues. And over time, the hip joint can start to experience degenerative changes. And these changes can increase your risk of needing surgery down the road, something we all want to avoid. So what can you do to keep your hips healthy? Well, start by paying attention to your posture when sitting and making sure that you stand up and move around regularly. Now, incorporate exercise that focuses on hip mobility and strengthening to maintain the health of your joints. Now, this joint tightness we refer to as an unhealthy joint actually causes strain in the low back and hip muscles. And over time, this joint restriction can cause pain in the hip, tightness in the back, or even just a weird feeling or sensation in the hip, different from what you're feeling on the opposite side. And some of you may feel that when you're walking, when you're going from sit to stand, something like that just feels off. Remember, Hip pain from prolonged sitting is not something you should ignore. It's a warning sign that your joints need attention, and seeking care immediately will help you to improve joint mobility and rebuild the strength in the surrounding muscles. And we call these the deep stabilizers of the hip. And when you do this, you can prevent that pain from progressing to something more serious, typically arthritis. Now, arthritis is going to grow in and around the joint, causing damage to the joint itself and the bone. This can lead to hip surgeries down the road, and these surgeries can be prevented by addressing the pain and the tightness early on. Now, I'm creating this video to show you the importance of joint health, particularly in the hips, and to provide you with practical tips to prevent hip pain from becoming a larger problem. And if you're experiencing hip pain right now with prolonged sitting, and you're looking for a provider, you might be asking yourself, who do I turn to for help? Well, let's explore some different healthcare options for managing your hip pain and help you find the right provider to get lasting relief. Now, let's start with physical therapy, or PT. PT is often the first step for many people, especially since it's usually covered by your insurance. And a physical therapist is going to focus on managing that hip pain and helping you rehab that hip through targeted exercises and stretches. Now, for some of you, this is going to provide short-term relief, but others might feel that their pain keeps coming back over and over again, making you feel like, oh my God, how many times do you have to go for physical therapy? When this happens, you often turn to other types of care, like maybe chiropractic, or maybe you go to seek a massage therapist, hoping to find a longer-term solution. So what's the difference between these providers? Where a chiropractor's main goal is to adjust the spine and the joints to restore alignment and relieve pressure on the nerves. Now, they're going to aim to improve your body's overall function by focusing on the spine, which sometimes can help with hip pain, especially if it's related to an alignment issue. Now, a physical therapist, on the other hand, is going to focus on rehabilitating injury that occurs in the hip, and they're going to utilize exercises, manual therapy, and they're going to give you education. And their goal is to improve your mobility, your range of motion, your strength and function to reduce your pain and prevent further injury. Now, a massage therapist is going to work by manipulating the muscle and the soft tissues to reduce tension in the hip. It's going to improve circulation and promote relaxation in that hip, but this can provide temporary relief from pain and discomfort, but it's generally more of a short-term solution. Now, the good news here is that most of these treatments, whether they're physical therapy, chiropractic care, or massage therapy, these can be covered by your insurance. But while these options can help manage your pain, you may find that you only get temporary relief without fully resolving your issue. Now, that's where a stretch mobility coach or a SMC can come in. We actually take a preventative approach to your care. We look at the health of your entire body, not just the area where the hip pain or the tightness is occurring. And our goal isn't to just manage your systems. Your symptoms. Our goal is to actually restore your hip and the surrounding areas to a more healthy state. Now, during our assessments, we take a deeper look at your mobility, your flexibility, and your deep strength of your hip. We also look at your lower back and your lower body. And then we create a personalized treatment program that works to rebuild the muscles that stabilize your hip, improve your joint mobility, and then rebuild the strength of those deep stabilizers so that when you do walk or sit or squat or push or turn, that joint is moving like it's supposed to in a healthy way, and the capsule is not restricted. And then you have all the muscles that are required for the mobility in that hip to occur, so that compensation is not going to occur. Now, our programs are designed to help you be the best version of yourself, keeping you away from surgery and away from the degenerative changes that can lead you towards more serious issues down the road. Unlike other treatments that provide reactive care and might have you with daily exercises to manage your pain, or maybe you're given a program to stretch every day, or you have to exercise every day, a stretch mobility coach is going to work to rebuild your body so that you can live your life without limits and so that you don't have to stretch and strengthen every day the rest of your life. We focus on taking the pain away and restoring your body to full strength, full mobility, so that we can help you maintain health long term. Now, with our approach, you're going to spend less time worrying about where your pain is and more time being able to do the things that you love without the fear of that hip pain coming back. Now, finding the right provider for your hip pain is crucial. While physical therapy, chiropractic care, and massage therapy all have their benefits, a stretch mobility coach is going to offer a comprehensive preventive approach that can help you achieve lasting results and optimal health. And if you're tired of temporary fixes and you want to take control of your health, reach out to a stretch mobility coach today. And if you found this information helpful, please subscribe to the channel so that you can get these insights every single week. Now, thanks for watching the show today. And don't forget, pass this on, share it along with a friend, subscribe to the channel so you get the latest news. And if you do want to find a coach near you, I'll make sure to put a link in the show notes so that will take you to our webpage and you can find a coach near you and start getting rid of pain and tightness for good. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next week.